Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You don't need to record it.
Hmm?
$536.
Seems like a big prime, something around prime time.
Yeah. They usually start it early enough so that people.
Maybe been not too early from the West Coast.
Right. We do, and we also have a.
Or too late.
Yeah. No. Mm.
Actually, that's 5:30 our time. I forgot everything pops up. Yeah, let me take it. Let me
So
get.
they have to stop.
Stop the recording. Do you want me to help you out?
No, I just experiment
Try
the
to
way.
stop the recording if you're doing it.
Oh, here we are, green. There we go.
Yeah, just stop it.
Right.
Have coffee here.
Yeah, I have got some iced coffee. I wasn't sure how many people were gonna be here, I had no concept.
I never know either. He's brought more than I would.
Yeah, because with gear, we got smart gear.
It smells like flowers, but it doesn't die like flowers.
Sure, you can mow it before thousands. Yeah. That's a good idea.
Chocolate communion.
My tractor fell into the ground nest.
Only matter if it's,
And you're so kind to me. You're kind to me, Malcolm. Mm.
What I think?
Not really. No, not.
That low.
It's going well.
Sorry.
No.
I would imagine like a big SUK, like maybe 30 to 50 bucks.
That's it.
Okay. Let's get started. Take 2. I don't know what to do. Let me go in. Let's try something else. Hmm. I don't know what to do. What's the sound? What happened to it?
Shall I help you?
Well, I'm waiting for some sound to come on.
Maybe you shouldn't wait. Maybe you need to click to bring it on. I don't know.
Yes, I try different click things.
Good morning, I'm Eric Scotch and I will be your service associate for today. Welcome to the Auburn Unitarian Universalist Fellowship located on occupied ancestral land of the Muskogee Creek Nation and housed in a building constructed by free formerly enslaved African Americans. Again, my name is Eric Scotch. Welcome this morning, this day, and this opportunity to be together in community, which is a time of joy, comfort, and sometimes challenges. The Unitarian Universalist congregation is a place where we come to learn more about being human. We're not here because we've figured out life's questions or because we think we've got it right. We come here to learn more about being in relationship together, how to listen, how to forgive, how to be vulnerable, and how to create trust and compassion in one another. On behalf of the members of the fellowship, I extend a special welcome to all visitors who are joining us for the first time and to those of you who still feel like visitors. If you have not already done so, please fill out the digital visitor card by visiting auuf.org/visitor so that we may welcome you. You may also contact our minister, Reverend Chris Rothbauer, at minister@auuf.org with any questions or concerns you may have. Let us move into the service, willing to be authentic with each other, honest with ourselves, and open to connection in all its forms.
Our opening words are from Ella Boyer. As we create and share sacred space together, let us reflect on what brings us here. We have all come here for different reasons, from different decisions, faced different challenges, and shared different love. And yet all of our differences have led us to this sacred space right here, right now. Some believe we are here for a greater purpose. Others hold fast to a claim of complete coincidence. Others still lie somewhere in between. There are so many differences and barriers between each individual, it would seem at times as though the odds were stacked against us, becoming one whole. As we believe different things, live and experience different things, and value and hate different things. We are, in some people's eyes, the children of God, in others, the children of the earth, or fully grown adults here as a piece of the ongoing cycle of the universe, the children of the stars. We all have different definitions and explanations to who or what and why we are. Perhaps all are right. Our revelation is not sealed. Despite all that is different, there is one thing that certainly is the same. Somehow, we are all right here, right now. We are growing and changing and discovering all here, all together, sharing the same sacred space we have shared for years, throughout generations, constantly evolving, constantly changing. Let us continue. Let us change and fight together. Let us adapt together. Let us grow together. And this morning, let us gather together.
We light our chalice this morning with these words from Maureen Kaloran. Love is the aspiration, the spirit that moves and inspires this faith we share. Rightly understood, love can nurture our spirits and transform the world. May the flame of this chalice honor and embody the power and the blessing of the love we need, the love we give, the love we are challenged always to remember and to share. As is our tradition, we also light a candle in solidarity with those families separated at our southern borders. Our opening hymn is hymn number 95 in the gray hymnal, There Is More Love. One of the ways we proclaim the warmth and caring of our community is by sharing our joys, concerns, and milestones. We invite you to type your joy, concern, or milestone in the Zoom chat box during the music for meditation. Thank you to all who shared their joys, concerns, and milestones this morning. These joys and concerns were submitted in advance for sharing. Angela Farmer shares, my mother, Martha Farmer, gave us a good scare this week. She's experiencing congestive heart failure and other organs have begun their inevitable decline. However, this was caused to have all of my siblings and many of our children together at the same time. So, small blessings. She's chosen to be at home and is responding to medical care. Keep her and us in your thoughts. I hope to be back with you soon. May all the joys, concerns, and milestones of this community, those shared aloud and those held in silence, be received into the care and concern of all present.
Love Monster and the Last Chocolate by Rachel Bright. This monster, hello Love Monster, was just getting back from his vacation. And although it was a little bit exciting to be home, he was sad to leave his adventures behind him. But wait, what was this? A box of chocolates just sitting there, waiting to be found? Love Monster couldn't believe it. You see, everybody knows that monsters seriously love chocolate, especially this monster. His mouth started to water just thinking about what might be inside. Perhaps there'd be a peanut butter crunch, or even an extra fizz banger sherbet. Or maybe, just maybe, a double chocolate strawberry swirl. Love Monster's absolute favorite. But then he had a thought that he just couldn't unthink. He should probably share the chocolates with his friends. But what if there weren't enough? Or what if someone took the one he wanted the most? Or, worst of all, what if the only one left for him was the coffee one? Ew! Everybody knows monsters hate the coffee one, especially this monster. Yuck! Well, I'm sorry to tell you that after thinking all of these thoughts, Love Monster decided it would be safer and kinder and better for everyone if he kept the chocolates. Just for himself. So he went into his house, and so did the box of chocolates. Without a whisper of a word to anyone. Love Monster couldn't wait. Oh, how his mouth watered. But just as he went to lift the lid, he had a sort of queasy, squeezy feeling in his heart. It was the feeling a monster gets when he knows he is about to do something he shouldn't. And before you could say, "Pass me the truffle surprise," he burst out of his house and ran as fast as his toes would carry him. to find his friends. And when he did, in a very out-of-breath and a bit shouty voice, he said,
I got back from my vacation and I found some chocolates and I was going to keep them all to myself, but then I realized I wanted to share them with you and I don't even want a single one. Well, maybe one.
And do you know what his friend said? Silly monster, just open the box. To Love Monster, we missed you so much. We saved you our last chocolate, your favorite, because you're our favorite monster. You see, sometimes it's when you stop to think of others that you start to find out just how much they think of you.
Please join me in the spirit of contemplation in whatever way feels right with these words from Lisa Doji. I was a foster parent long before I was a mom, and an inside look at families and the system reveals pretty quickly that love and parenthood are two different qualities, and the relationship between them is neither straightforward nor guaranteed. Of course, the same is true of love and friendship, love and kinship, love and partnership. An intimate relationship is no guarantee of love, and love is no guarantee of simplicity or ease or unadulterated pleasure. No seasonal flurry of red and pink hearts changes that. But the inevitable heartbreak and challenge of opening ourselves to love notwithstanding, love is the thing all the poets and lyricists and artists of the ages must capture and express, and the thing none of them can agree upon. The thing for which we courageously lay ourselves bare, and the thing against which we erect barriers of cunning devising. And love, according to our universalist forebears, is the thing that holds us in all our holy human imperfection and all our wretched human brokenness, which cannot be separated one from another in any of us. Love holds us. That makes each of us a Valentine, love's Valentine. Some would say God's Valentine or mystery's Valentine. Others would say community's Valentine. If you listen very carefully, you'll hear a voice from both within and beyond saying something sweeter and more miraculous than will you be my Valentine? It is even now whispering, singing, calling, declaring as it has from the day you were born and will to the day you die, you are my Valentine. Love's the thing. Blessed be. Now, as Eric comes back up here to lead us in our offering, this might be a good time, if you don't have a piece of chocolate or another sweet in front of you, to go and get one, because you're going to need it in the second half of the service today. But don't eat it yet. You're going to need it when we come to there.
The purpose of Unitarian Universalist communities is to encourage all who gather there to grow more generous in spirit and in action. This is the great end of all world's faith traditions, to bring the human being closer to the divine by acts of creation and compassion. As is our custom on the second Sunday of each month, we now take an offering that allows us to exercise that all-important generosity of spirit, an offering that will support an organization in the community whose values align with our own. That is doing amazing work in line with our AUUF values. For the month of February, 100% of unpledged donations in our offering basket will go to support Midwest Environmental Advocates. Midwest Environmental Advocates is a nonprofit law center that combines the power of law with the resolve of communities facing environmental injustice to secure and protect the rights of all people to healthy water, land, and air. Their current focus is helping indigenous communities in Wisconsin prevent the continued flow of toxic tar sands and solvents through their reservation and or ceded territories in a 70-year-old pipeline now operated illegally by Enbridge, a multinational pipeline company in Canada. Chippewa communities on the Bad River Reservation in Wisconsin are working with Midwest Environmental Advocates to stop the operation of Line 5 on their reservation illegally. Lease has expired. Or from having it rerouted through their ceded territories where it would endanger 200 streams and many wetlands. The pipeline also flows beneath the Straits of Mackinac, where it endangers Lake Superior. Please give generously this morning as you are willing and able as we bring the compassionate spirit of Unitarian Universalism into the world. To make a donation online via PayPal, please visit auuf.org/donate. Please indicate in the notes whether your donation is for your pledge or the offering. If you are writing a check, please make your check payable to AUUF with a note in the memo line about whether it is for the offering or your pledge, and mail it to P.O. Box 669, Auburn, Alabama 36831. The offering will now be greatly received. Grateful.
That's okay.
reading today is An Unlikely Teacher of Love by Maureen Killoran. Every year, the dark-eyed junco returns to my bird feeder when the ground gets cold and the wind has made the trees bare. The dark-eyed junco visits Cape Cod in winter and flies north to colder climates when summer returns. This year, I patiently awaited the return of these birds. I needed to see them as soon as I pulled out my winter coats. I was desperate for a sighting, a bit of normalcy amidst the world turning upside down. I first saw the dark-eyed junco on a silent meditation retreat in Barre, Massachusetts, 10 days after meditation, where the only thing to do was get lost in your thoughts, make up stories about all of the other participants, and watch the bird feeder. I called it the Bird Channel. All of us would gather in the dining room for meals and downtimes, sipping our hot beverages, watching the birds outside the windows at the bird feeders. As I sat there in that silent room, the only noises being the shuffling of feet, a chair pushed back, or a spoon in a cup. I took time to notice. I noticed their round little bodies, a perfect little bird ball, gray turning into black on their backs, resulting in a tiny black head with a bright orange beak with white chests. Really, they are an ombre bird. In fact, maybe they are what made ombre the fashion hit that it is. When I returned from the retreat that year, I noticed them by my feeders, and I have awaited them every year since. Each year, like clockwork, juncos remind me of impertinence. Though my heart can feel broken in 300,000 pieces, these birds will still return, beauty showing up each morning. Maybe hope is like this, fleeting. It leaves and returns again. There's beauty in its impertinence. Maybe hope breaks your heart and leaves you wanting more. Maybe hope just shows up in the ordinary, cyclical nature of things.
As many of you know, one of my favorite things to do during warmer months is to get out and hike. I love being on the trail, the feel of my feet digging into the gravel or the dirt of the path, and to just notice everything around me. And it seems like there's a lot to notice during these times. The shuffle of birds fluttering about looking for food and shelter, or the number of people passing me by, or the beauty of a just absolutely gorgeous view right in front of me. But sometimes I also people watch, especially if this little meditation that I'm on is broken. I have more than one time seen someone just walking along that hiking trail with their earbuds in, just talking on the cell phone and kind of oblivious to everything that's around them as they discuss what they need to do when they get home, or the shopping they want to do on the way, or just the latest gossip about who's doing what to whom. I dare say that I want to stop them sometime and ask them, are you seeing the same things I am? I wonder what they would say. And lest I sound like I'm on a holier than thou kick, in the winter time, I go to the gym often and run on the treadmill. Now, even though Auburn is the warmest climate I've ever lived in, and I am so grateful for that, I still don't tend to want to get out and run outside in this weather. So I will go and run on the treadmill. And that's all well and good, except I recently realized that the way I queue up a podcast or some music to listen to while I run, I'm doing the exact same thing those people on the treadmill are. I'm running my life away, not noticing what's around me. There's an interesting metaphor in this morning. Because as Maureen Killoran pointed out in her reading, she learned to see the value of love and impermanence in watching the birds at the bird feeder. But imagine if instead of doing that, she'd been on her phone playing Candy Crush. Or she'd been so busy thinking about when the retreat would be over that she didn't notice those birds right in front of her. She might have missed out on it too. We have to pay attention if we're going to see the love that's always surrounding us. And I do believe it's always surrounding us. Gary Carantazis says that love is an emotion that keeps people bonded and committed to one another. We need love. From an evolutionary psychological perspective, love evolved to keep the parents of children together long enough for them to survive and reach sexual maturity themselves. Love bonds us to people, and it reminds us that we need one another to make it in the world. But if we're just going through on this autopilot, we're going to miss out on the love that is both offered and available. It breaks the bonds of this alienation that make us feel that we just need something to get us through the day. As Anne Hathaway once said, loneliness is my least favorite thing about life. The thing that I'm most worried about is just being alone without anybody to care for, or someone who will care for me. Love reminds us that we're part of something bigger than ourselves, just as those birds reminded Maureen that she was part of something bigger than herself. Just as those beautiful views on the hiking trail remind me that I'm part of something bigger than myself. But what is love? I'm aware that some of you might be thinking, oh, baby, don't hurt me after I just said that, especially if you liked 80s rock music. But love is more than romance. Dean Spade, who is an activist in many different circles, says that we are living under a romance myth, which causes us to devalue non-romantic relationships. The romance myth tells us we should have all of our emotional needs met through our romantic relationships. And as a result, sometimes we completely miss out on opportunities for love because we can't see that love is love, because our culture doesn't value other types of love as much. But as the aromantic people, the people who don't have a need for romance at all, remind us, there's a lot more to love than just romance. Many languages have different words for different types of love. Notably, the Greek have 6 different words for love, ranging from everything from hospitality to sexual love. Friendships and familial relationships can be just as important to our mental health as romantic relationships. A writer at the Artling Clinic says that love helps us with emotional support. This friendship love helps us beat stress, build healthy behaviors, and push us to be our best. Well, then why don't we send Valentines to our friends? Some of you might, but I was taught that that was kind of a silly thing to do that ended with elementary school. But yet these relationships are valid forms of love. They create bonds. The bonds of friends and other love relationships remind us that we're part of something bigger than ourselves. They remind us we're not alone, and they push us to be our best. Once we're able to see that these simple acts, the Greeks believed that hospitality even was a form of love. So simple acts can bring more love into our lives and help us to see that love really is all around. So it's no wonder that many progressive Christians today believe that love is literally God. The author Daniel Nielsen said the secret to happiness is really learning to live in a perpetual state of love, whether or not you're in a romantic relationship. Little acts of kindness can be acts of love. How many times have you had a really bad day and you just don't know what to do? And the tiniest of gestures just reminds you that you do have the strength to push on. Your smile or a kind word could be just what a stranger needs today to make it through whatever is before them. Every one of us is capable of receiving and giving so much love. And Dean Spade says that's another myth of the romance myth, that love is a finite resource. Indeed, love is infinite. There is more love than we could possibly ever take in our lifetime, even if we lived for 100 years. I want to propose that all of this is pointing towards connection as a way to love. When we truly connect with another person, we see them as the unique people they are. And that is enough. Many of you are aware that I'm an educator of the emotional CPR program, and 11 of you over the last year have had the opportunity to take an emotional CPR training yourself. The first step of emotional CPR, which aims to help people in the midst of emotional crisis, is connection. And that's because when we're at our worst, what we need is to be seen. And we need to hear someone else say that maybe it's not going to be okay, or maybe it will, but regardless, someone else is here and cares. When two people connect, even for a short amount of time, it makes both feel all alone. And that's why even little acts can be acts of love when done with the right spirit. your love can make you feel more loved. Paradoxically, the more love you give, the more you receive. I'm always amazed by how many people take emotional CPR and say they were doing it to help other people, but they didn't know how much it would help them. When you give love, it makes others more likely to return it. There's a myth out there that says we can't love others until we love ourselves. And there are children in the room this morning, so I won't say exactly what I think about that myth. But I have known plenty of people, who are able to love others, and consequently, because of their love for others, they're learned to love themselves. I don't think it matters where you start. What matters is the love you give. I know that many people, maybe even some of you, look for churches and congregations and religious organizations when they move to a new town, because it can feel so alone to come into a new community where you might know almost nobody. I truly believe that our community can be a place that's an incubator for love in the wider world. And I think we are. I like to think that the love that people give and receive in our community encourages us to go out into the wider world and share that love. And it's so great to think about. I received a letter yesterday from the Jehovah's Witnesses encouraging me telling me how much they cared about me, but also encouraging me to go to their website and find out all about their theology. I felt a little bit manipulated as I read that letter, because they were showing me love, but it was love because they wanted me to do something. And this is the difference. True love is just because you're you. If I'm going to show someone love, I'm going to show it whether they ever come into this building or not. And that's the key to how love can shape the world. It can create the conditions necessary for beloved community and create a more loving and just world, because I believe that love can have a trickle-down effect. If enough of us learn to love even in the face of hate, I think it can change the world. Because as Martin Luther King Jr. once said, love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend. So that's my challenge to you this morning. Go out this Valentine's Day, whether you're single or whether you've been married or partnered for decades. Go out and show your love to the world. Love is not the same in every relationship, but I truly believe that if two people are able to connect, love can flourish in the midst. May it be so. So this is where you're going to need your chocolate. We're going to do a little bit of a ceremony this morning. I was hoping that we'd be together for it, but maybe next year. It's called chocolate communion, and I've never done it since I've been in Auburn. But the idea is that chocolate can be a symbol. Chocolate has grown throughout the Americas since before the arrival of Europeans. and has often had religious symbolism attached to it. The Mayans believed that the gods shed their blood on the cacao plant as part of its production. Aztecs believed that chocolate was given to humans by the gods. The tender sweetness of chocolate has a way of tantalizing us, with its bold, rich flavor. People have come to love chocolate, using it as a dessert, a stress reliever, and an aphrodisiac. So it's no wonder that chocolate has become a symbol of love and a common gift on Valentine's Day. If chocolate is so good that it was once thought to come from the gods, then giving chocolate to our loved ones can be thought of as giving a symbol of goodness, a piece of the sacred, and embracing our loved ones in a blanket of love. Though chocolate can never be a substitute for love and care, when given with the right intention, it can be a powerful reminder that others care for us, and a reminder that on a day devoted to remembering those in our lives we love and care for, we engage in the chocolate communion to provide us an opportunity to tangibly show our love and care for one another. Now, I invite you to pick up your chocolate. Don't unwrap it. I'm saying that to the people in the room, sorry. I want you to take your chocolate and give it to someone else in the room. If you're watching online and you don't have anyone else in the room, imagine that I'm giving you my chocolate. Now, if your chocolate's wrapped, go ahead and unwrap it. Pick it up. Hold it in your hand. Consider its physical properties, its color, the way it feels in your hand, the way it smells. Consider how this chocolate is sweet, like the love and care of our community, the sweetness of belonging to a congregation that's bigger than any one of us. Please don't eat your chocolate until I ask you to. Now, we have each received a piece of chocolate. The chocolate in our hands is a symbol of the way our community loves and cares for one another. As we prepare to eat it, may we know in our hearts that this community is a place that holds everyone in a blanket of care and offers love towards those who join us here. May the pleasure these pieces of chocolate give our taste buds be reminders of the joy that comes from building beloved community. And may we find new ways throughout the year of loving and caring for one another. I now invite you to put your chocolate in your mouth. As you chew it, watch how it tastes. And we'll now have a moment of silence to contemplate the chocolate and consider its meaning in this ceremony. We have taken of the chocolate communion. May we savor the taste of this chocolate throughout the year, and may we remember each time we taste it that we are part of a loving, caring community that values us for who we are, and be encouraged to show such love and care ourselves. Now here is a challenge. Normally, if there is leftover chocolate, I would invite you to take some and distribute it to someone who couldn't make it, or to just someone you see today. My grandfather used to carry little Werther's candies in his hand, and he was fond of just handing them out. I like to think that that was his way of brightening up kids' days just a little bit. So I want you to find some candy and carry it in your pocket this week. When you see people that you love, or people who might be strangers and need a bright day, give them a piece of chocolate or a piece of candy, just to show them that they're loved and cared for. May it be a reminder that our service doesn't end when we depart on Sunday morning, but continues throughout the week in all the faces we meet. Just as the taste of chocolate reminds us that life can be sweet and tender, may we remember that the giving and receiving of love, kindness, and compassion are prerequisites to a happy and fulfilled life. May you go out into the world, blessing it with a measure of the care you have found in this community, and work towards building a world where everyone knows in their hearts that they are loved. Blessed be. Our closing hymn is hymn number 131 in the gray hymnal, Love Will Guide Us.
Please join me in extinguishing our chalice. You will find the words in your order of service. Extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please be our guest today after the service for our coffee hour. We'll leave the room open for conversation following the service. If you are not signed up for our email list, please make sure you do so to receive updates about ways to connect. You can find information on signing up at our website, auuf.org/subscribe. Please join us now for our sung benediction. Into the world with peace and peace. Courage, hold fast that which is good. Go forth to the world with peace
Our benediction is from Eric Williams. Love is the spirit of this congregation. May the songs we sing celebrate this love. May the lives we lead embody this spirit. May you all go forth in peace. Amen. Blessed be, and go in peace.